we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
This home is showing a 20% down payment, which means if you look in the top right, I got a purchase price of $156,000 and I have a down payment of how much? Down payment of $31,000. I'm also gonna have some closing costs. All that's gonna come to a total out of pocket. We call that a TOP, total out of pocket. You need to know your TOP if you wanna calculate your ROI. Your TOP on this one is gonna be how much? $42,000. So first of all, before you know anything else, what's your impression? Good or bad? You can't have one. You don't have the information. Some deals take 10 grand, some deals take 1,000 grand, some deals take, $420,000. How much money it needs should never evoke an emotion. It's just information. It's just what? Information. We got to fix the way that you look at math so that you don't see some as big numbers and some as small numbers. The more you can disassociate from having a prejudice against big and small numbers, the easier it is for me to help you make $1 million. This home is showing a 20% down payment, which means if you look in the top right, I got a purchase price of $156,000 and I have a down payment of how much? Down payment of $31,000. I'm also gonna have some closing costs. All that's gonna come to a total out of pocket. We call that a TOP, total out of pocket. You need to know your TOP if you wanna calculate your ROI. Your TOP on this one is gonna be how much? $42,000. So first of all, before you know anything else, what's your impression? Good or bad? You can't have one. You don't have the information. Some deals take 10 grand, some deals take 1,000 grand, some deals take, $420,000. How much money it needs should never evoke an emotion. It's just information. It's just what? Information. We got to fix the way that you look at math so that you don't see some as big numbers and some as small numbers. The more you can disassociate from having a prejudice against big and small numbers, the easier it is for me to help you make $1 million. I'm gonna scroll down. My monthly rent is gonna be $1,350. My principal and interest is $708, but I gotta factor in my taxes, which are higher in that market, my insurance, my PITI, which stands for principal, interest, taxes, insurance. To know what your total payment is every month, principal and interest, tax, and insurance. Don't ever look at the principal and interest without adding the other two parts in because it catches up at some point in the year. Put your payment at $1,000, $1,029. Now, based on that information, and with some assumptions that you can see on the left, based on research that we do in these markets, we can come up with an average annual projected ROI, and how much of that is based on cash flow. What's the total projected ROI on this house? The total average annual return. How many of you see the 23%? Okay, now by the way, now what should you be feeling? I think it's time to start saying, I think we're on to something here. This is good because I'll actually make, once I know my market, once I know the neighborhood, and once I know the condition of the house, there's only one thing I care about. That number right there and the one right underneath it. The one right underneath it is what is called an average annual cash on cash return. How much is it? Basically says you put 42 grand in and every year you're gonna recapture 8% of that in the form of cash flow. Does this make sense? Okay. So is this a good deal? Assuming that the market is good, the neighborhood's good, and the condition of the house is good, is this a good deal? Yes. Why? Everything's over 20 is awesome. We're exceeding 15%, and you have to understand, first of all, that this is a look into the future that hasn't happened yet. So will that be the actual result of the home? No, but we're generally right on inside of plus 90%. So that brings some assurances. We're less than one standard deviation away. Right there, when you take a look at that ROI, if you compound that, you can double your money how often? 3.5. Under 4 years. Now, by the way, if you have a chance to double your money in under 5 years, is this good? Yes. It's better than doubling it every 20 years. Compound interest cannot work for you. That's one of the things that I love about real estate. is that I love that the numbers work and the numbers make sense. My very first mentor taught me something. I was trying to understand why real estate. I didn't get it yet. I was picking his brain. I was like, why are you doing this, John? Why are you so excited about it? This is what he said. He said, you know, Kris, you could invent a tiny little widget. Let's call it a fidget spinner. And you could sell it for $2 or $5, and let's say you make $1 on each one. If you wanted to make $1 million, how many fidget spinners would you need to sell? You need to sell 1 million. And I looked at them like, well, I don't really know online marketing, and I'm not one of those like internet ninjas. So to me, if I went door to door with fidget spinners, it seems like it might take a small eternity to sell enough of them to make $1 million. He's like, I agree. I think that'd be a huge waste of your time. And he said, then I'm like, well, so that doesn't answer why real estate. He says, of course it does. I said, how so? He says, let's say that you're selling cars. Let's say that you sell a car and you make $1,000 every time you sell a car. How many cars do you need to sell to make $1 million? 1,000 cars. And I'm like, well, I don't know about you, but 1,000 cars seems like it'd be totally easier than selling 1 million fidget spinners. I mean, and he's like, I agree. You make the same amount of money, but you're going to do it in less what? Which is the most important resource that you have. And then he said, does that help you understand why real estate? I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, okay, let's try it with real estate. Let's say I do a deal and I make $100,000. How many deals do I need to do to make $1 million? Everyone count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $1 million. No, not 10. 8, 9, $1 million. Someone still, who was that? Jeremy, fix that. Okay, so I was like 10, and all of a sudden I was like, that's a number I'm familiar with. 10 fingers, 10 toes. I can count to 10 really good. Like it's faster than counting to 1,000. How many of you get that? And then he said this, he said, Kris, you know what the difference between selling a car and making $1,000 and selling a house and making $100,000 is? I was like, no. He's like, nothing. It's about the same amount of time. On this deal, I will average a handful of hours. That's it. If I sell this house, let's say we double the money on it. Let's say I make $40,000, and let's say I put 4 hours in. Do that math. It's $10,000 an hour. Okay, how many of you like the idea of starting to get into 5-digit income per hour traded? How many of you like that? I got news for you. You're sitting in the freaking right seminar. Give yourselves a big round of applause.